So, guys, I've been kind of hoping to get an Xbox One because I don't have an Xbox One. I've been waiting to see what exclusive would be worth getting an Xbox One because I might not go for the Xbox One X because it's right now there's nothing worth it.
Yeah, and you have a PC that can play games.
And I have a PC that can play games. I mean, it's not a supercomputer, but it can play most games. But, you know, I've been looking to get an Xbox One. Even the Xbox One S, just so I can play, you know, Xbox 360 games. Even now they announced the Xbox Originals that they're going to come out. Plus there's a good library of Xbox One or even Xbox 360 games that I want to replay. But now I want to also catch up with the Halo series, Gears of War, something like that. But I just never had a reason to get one.
Yep.
Now, talking about the Xbox, you know,
exclusivity?
Yeah, that word.
That great word.
That's a great word. It's kind of different this generation. You know, back in the 360 era, it was always just 360 or PS3. Now
that was it. Yeah.
Now you're looking at it's sharing it with Windows 10.
Well, it's really interesting because like you have all the different exclusivities now. It's like for an example, like Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider was exclusive for a year.
You're right.
And that was only, I think it was on PC, it was on Xbox when it originally released, and then a year later it came to PlayStation 4. So there's that kind of exclusive deal. There's exclusive content deals, like content deals come up to a certain platform first. In this regard to what we were talking about with Destiny and PlayStation, which is a big upset right now, where Destiny is getting all of the exclusive content to PlayStation for an entire year pretty much. Oh, and it's keeping it away from PC and Xbox.
Yeah, it's crazy for a year with that game.
But what we saw with the Xbox conference was that there was a lot of these buzzwords or buzz phrases like console exclusive or first on Xbox.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of these different buzzwords, and it kind of made everything very kind of confusing at the time. But what it seems to be is that when you're actually saying Xbox exclusive, you're probably also saying that it's exclusive to Xbox, but it's also exclusive to Windows 10. And just recently, one of the most recent, it actually happened today on July 4th, if you're watching this, Polygon put out an article, and there might have been articles prior to this, regarding Cuphead. Cuphead's been in development for a while now.
They've had three E3s.
2015
is it three? Was the first one.
All right, so yeah, 3 E3s. Or 2 E3s. 2015, you said?
2015 was the first E3.
Okay. So
2016, then 2017.
Yeah.
Yes.
So 3
5,
years.
6,
so
7.
3 years. And I know that there was... Like, it was pretty much a game just the boss battles. Like, the art style was fantastic, but it only had boss battles. And what they wanted to do, and the reason why it kept getting delayed, was they wanted to go back in and create the platforming elements of it.
Right.
But eventually, like, before we went into E3, we were pretty much just saying, like, this game needs to come out as soon as possible. We have a release date with September. But the reason why we're bringing up this game in particular, and it's very similar to what Xbox seems to be doing with the whole exclusivity with their games. And even, like, games like Crackdown, games like Sea of Thieves that are going to come out. They're pretty much console exclusive to Xbox. And they probably will always be, some of these games will probably only be console exclusive to Xbox, but they are also coming out on Windows 10. So if you have a PlayStation 4 and you have a gaming PC that, you know, has Windows 10 on it, you're potentially going to be able to buy all the games that are going to be exclusive console games for the Xbox.
Yeah.
And it's getting really confusing as it is. But the reason that I bring it up is just to kind of have this conversation about what exclusivity means to Xbox now, and it seems like they're getting further away from worrying about everybody playing on Xbox, just an Xbox, and they're moving more towards like you can play on Xbox, or you can play on PC. What does that mean for you guys? Like looking at what Cuphead's doing and a lot of these other games that are coming out. The developer said with Cuphead that the game is pretty much the first Cuphead, the Cuphead game that's coming out in September, is going to be exclusive on Xbox, on PC, for the foreseeable, forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just going to be an exclusive game for that platform of Windows 10 and Xbox. So it's not going to come to PlayStation. They said it's not coming to PlayStation, but the developer does own the IP, so, and this isn't the first game to do this, other sequels might come out and be like Cuphead 2 might actually come out on PlayStation 4 with Xbox and so on and so forth.
Right.
So what do you think overall? What do you think this means for like what they're doing with exclusives, and do you think it's a good strategy? Do you think it's going to change anything? Do you think what's their game plan?
I mean, for me, the Cuphead announcement was a surprise because that's a game I'm eyeing.
Yeah,
that game looks phenomenal. The art style just looks great. It's based off of 1930s cartoons, and it looks like you're playing a cartoon.
Yeah,
it just looks so great. So for it to be on PlayStation and Xbox,
well, it's not going to be on PlayStation.
Well, I'm sorry, not PlayStation, Xbox and Windows. Yes, I just want to make sure that was clear. Yeah, Xbox and Windows. It's interesting because I do have a PC, but I don't know. It's hard because when you talk, with the exclusives, sharing the PC and Xbox under the Microsoft name, it's like, I don't know, because now you could, it'd be different if you could only use a mouse and keyboard on one versus Xbox, but you can also use a Pro controller or an Xbox 360 controller on a PC.
Yeah.
So you have an Xbox controller, so it's not a controller issue, it's just whether you want to spend money to get a PC, or get an Xbox. So basically,
and you can still play it on Xbox One S. So you don't have to go the upgrade.
So basically, what Xbox did with the Xbox One X is you have Xbox One or Xbox One S. They're basically the same, and then you have Xbox One X, and then your full-fledged PC.
Yeah.
So basically, they're all sharing the Microsoft family.
Yep. They all make money off the game.
They all make. Yep. So really, it's just what tier do you want to sit in? Some people don't want to bother with PCs upgrading everything like that. I mean, I can't say that's an excuse anymore because there's kids these days. Maybe 10 years ago you can be like, oh well, they may not know how to build a PC. They may not know how to upgrade their PC. But I mean, now you have YouTube. You have so many forums on how to do these things, and I bet you probably a guy, and you probably know someone that can do that, like build a PC if you wanted to. So
just to kind of piggyback off that, I just wanted to add on to this. It's not just Windows 10. They're also saying that it will launch on Steam and GOG,
Mac too, eventually,
and potentially Linux. So pretty much any platform that can play games outside of mobile and PlayStation 4.
Right. So basically,
so you're giving it the option that they can go and buy it on Steam as well, and that probably cuts into Microsoft's profits a little bit.
Yeah. So with that game specifically, but yeah, it's speaking of the exclusives, it's it's weird because it's no longer A or B. It's like it's PlayStation, Nintendo, and everything else, pretty much. It's like in its own category.
I think I like the fact that Xbox is moving away from exclusives and moving more towards bettering their services to make them more appealing to consumers.
They're winning a PR battle right now.
Yeah,
they're winning a huge PR battle. I think.
But at the same time, I think for like core gamers, when they look at consoles, they're not really looking at those things. They're looking at exclusive games, and if they can get that game somewhere else, where they if they already have a PC, there's no reason to get an Xbox.
Well, that's the thing.
So I wish something like this could be more like industry wide, so that's not really an issue anymore about what to get. But it's not. So Xbox is a little behind in that regard. Then
it seems like this whole business strategy, this whole PR push regarding these games being exclusive to Xbox, pretty much the Microsoft platform, because PC is still you need Windows most of the time to play these games. And you don't have some of these games like this one. You won't have to buy from the Windows 10 store. You can actually buy it from Steam. But I like where they're going in the sense, and it's one of those things I always wanted to bring up to Chris, and maybe we'll have a conversation about this on another podcast. I like what they're doing with the Play Anywhere model of some of these exclusive games, and they're exclusive in the sense of you can buy them on the Windows 10 store or you can buy them on the Xbox. Because say that I have my Xbox, you have your PC, you buy Cuphead on Windows 10, and I don't think this is Play Anywhere. I'm not sure if they have the agreement or not for Cuphead. But the idea of you can buy Cuphead on Windows 10, I can buy Cuphead on Xbox One, and we can play together.
Yeah.
Now, that's not for every game, but Gears of War's done that, Forza's done that, a lot of these bigger multiplayer games, and I like that element of it, because you can still appreciate the PC graphics or the way that you play on PC, and you can still play with the actual community that's on Xbox.
Yeah.
And I think that, to me, is where they're kind of headed and where they want to go. And it's not so much, and everybody keeps, and a lot of the fan war that goes on is like, oh, well, PlayStation sold 60 million units of PlayStation 4. Microsoft is assumed to have sold about 36 million. But does it matter in the retrospect of how many PCs they sold with Windows 10 on it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The idea of this cross-play or this cross-buy or this play anywhere system means that you could potentially have a large community playing a single game for an extended period of time because you're opening up that platform.
Right.
With Sony, if they're going to continue to keep certain things cut off from crossplay with Xbox, crossplay from PC, whatever the case may be, if a community slowly dies out on PlayStation, that community is going to die out. But with
nothing else to trickle onto.
With Xbox, if you have a game that's play anywhere or a crossplay with PC, that community pretty much is going to be larger just to begin with. So even if it does see a certain dip or a smaller dip, it's not going to have the same impact if the community on the PlayStation side were to get smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So matchmaking, multiplayer, different events, whatever the case may be, you're getting a bigger, larger portion of the community that's actually going to play on Windows 10 and Xbox, if that's where they're going.
Yeah.
But again, I think giving them more choice is always the better option. And I think that's where they're headed with this. But there's still this mentality of you have a gaming console, you need to have the exclusives on the gaming console. And I don't know if that's necessarily what needs to be done anymore. I think it might just be the messaging of, and even getting some of the publishers buy-in and saying, hey, Ghost Recon, we want it to be able to play anywhere. So if, say, Chris wanted to play Ghost Recon on his PC, he could load up and play with us on Xbox One and just be able to go and play.
Yeah.
And he won't have to make that choice. Do I buy it on Xbox? Do I buy it on PC? Do I buy it on PlayStation? Whatever the case may be, we would be able to actively make that choice, and it would actually benefit everybody because it's giving more players choice.
Do you think that information, though, is being thrown at the consumer?
No. I don't think it's being marketed properly. I don't necessarily think it's being messaged properly at this point. And I don't know if it's more of a matter of it. Maybe that's eventually where we're going to get with Xbox and Windows 10. I think it might have more to do with there's not just because you have these publishing deals like with Destiny. I'm sure Microsoft would love to have the PC version of Destiny be able to play with the PC version of Xbox for certain elements, like strikes, maybe raids, whatever the case may be, in a non-competitive scene, or you could be able to check that off and not play with those type of people. I'm sure they would love to do that. But because PlayStation is still continuing to pretty much purchase and push these publishing marketing deals, which is good for them, it helps their business. They are solely a home console. They have some cross-platform play with like Final Fantasy 14 and whatnot. But because they're kind of limiting themselves to just their own platform, I don't know with their publishing deals if they're getting pushback from other publishers on the Microsoft side saying, look, we have a publishing deal with this, like with Sony, and vice versa. We have a publishing deal with Sony, or we have a publishing deal with Nintendo, whatever the case may be, that, we can't allow like Windows 10 and Xbox to play together because we are pretty much being marketed by Sony.
Right.
Kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of backdoor business that's going on here. But I think it would be an awesome reality if, like I said, Tom Clancy Ghost Recon, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Destiny, Anthem when it comes out. If you can buy these games and you give the consumers a choice of, hey, you can either, if your buddies get this game on Xbox, you can play, if your buddies get this game on Xbox and you buy it on PC or Windows 10 because that's where you prefer playing, and you can play with them, that's a bigger message.
Yeah.
That's just giving them a different choice. And I think that, I don't know if they're ready to push that yet or not, but I know that when they first came out and started explaining that about the Play Anywhere model of it, I thought it was great. Mm-hmm. But they didn't mention that like once this entire E3.
I think what would help it is there's an extra mode in the game itself. I mean, it's going to be up to them to decide. It's not going to be up to like Xbox, like, oh, put an extra mode in there. But say you have one game that releases on PS4, but then you have a game that releases on Xbox One, but then there's an extra mode in that Xbox One. that's solely for crossplay with PC.
Yeah.
So you're not, the whole game may not be able to play on PC, but you have that one extra mode that kids are going to start talking about. Be like, oh, hey, on Xbox, we can play with my buddy. He's on PC. And it's great. There's like 80 versus 80 versus, okay, so the one on PS4 is only 40 versus 40 because of whatever limitations or whatever, there might not be limitations, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and the cross-play, the cross-platform, whatever the case may be, it will fix a lot of that too. Like Minecraft's being opened up so that all these people can play with each other. Rocket League, they want to open up so all these people can play with each other and give you that choice.
Yeah.
Which is awesome PR for Xbox. But I think they need to go step more and be like, add more titles into this Play Anywhere scenario, because when you put those titles as Play Anywhere, you buy it once and you can play it on your PC or you can play it on an Xbox. Yeah.
So you have a laptop, okay. So I was playing at home, but now I have a laptop, I can play it right here. You can
play on a laptop, bring it on, playing this or the other thing. And I think there's more to do with that. And I think and we talked about this with the mobile aspect of gaming consoles going forward, but eventually the surfaces are going to get powerful enough to be able to play these games.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually it's going to be, and you're going to be able to play with a controller on a flight or something like that and play with your buddies that are playing on an Xbox, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of Xbox is winning the PR, but there's a lot of the gaming community that just can't get over the hump of, hey, you don't have enough exclusives, or you're not investing enough in your studios. And at the end of the day, I don't know necessarily if they need to, because they have these juggernaut franchises like Halo, like Minecraft. Nobody's ever going to beat Minecraft in amount of copies sold at this point. All right,
not in this generation.
It's not going to be. It's just not going to happen.
Skyrim will get there eventually if they keep porting it.
Skyrim just it's on its way.
Yeah.
But
I'm just thinking about the Monopoly board game that you set.
Monopoly, and then the
TI-84.
TI-84 calculator version.
But I think. So yeah, it's interesting to think about what their overall plan is, like what Phil Spencer's overall plan is for Xbox. But I really do think that it's not so much a matter of console counting, like how many are sold, but it's about, and he said on numerous interviews, even during E3, he was saying that they don't really make money on consoles. Like consoles aren't what you make money on. It's the games that you sell on your console, the platform that you sell in order to make that money.
I think the big problem though is, for instance, you look at Nintendo Switch, okay, you have the whole portable and, stationary system all in one. What Xbox is kind of telling you is, buy an Xbox, and if you want to play with other people or bring it on the go, buy this $1,200 computer.
If you want.
Yeah.
Or a laptop. Like I said, it might just be a mid-tier laptop, but if you can sell them on the fact that, hey, you buy this game once, you can leave your Xbox at home and you can bring your laptop or your Surface tablet with you on a plane or wherever you're going. That changes the game.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if there's enough titles there to appease people with that idea yet. There's a lot that are coming to play anywhere, buy anywhere, whatever the case may be. But it's the other third-party publishers that aren't really buying into that because, again, they have certain publishing deals. They might have certain restrictions. I don't really know what the business end of it is, but I think that's awesome if they can get it to work and if they can market it and they can actually get it out there to people to understand. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. Because the day I think exclusive games, for the most part, for Xbox aren't going to be exclusive in the sense that we knew anymore. It's just not going to be. At least not with Phil Spencer there. I mean, somebody else may come in eventually and be like, nope, going back, we're going to have Halo exclusive, Gears exclusive, Forza exclusive. It's only going to be on Xbox. That's the way it's going to be. But at that point, you can't undo that without going through a terrible PR battle. So he's opened it up.
Yeah.
It's all out there. It's all hung out there to dry. You can't go back from this. Because if you go back from this, you look like the jerk.
I imagine the boardroom meetings where when he announced this stuff was just him taking everyone hostage with his gang, and his we're doing this now, and you can't say anything about it.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, even with Sony's been doing some stupid stuff with PR lately, with all their nonsense.
Yeah.
With Ryan.
It's just that one guy.
Yeah, just Ryan. Every time he gets out there, he's
just don't let him talk.
He's talking some crap about indies or. they're not that prevalent anymore. This, that, and the other thing.
No one wants old
No
games.
one likes to play old
Yeah,
games.
no
They
one
look
wants to play old
terrible.
games.
Why would you want
You
to
just
play?
got 63 games.
Yeah, I mean, but no one plays them. I needed. See, I had a table that was off centered, so now I got a whole bunch of stuff to stack under that one leg. So it's leveled now. That's all the reason why I bought it.
But like with Cuphead, like I think Cuphead is going to be awesome. It's going to be exclusive to that platform, and they're going to keep it off of PlayStation. And I think, who knows, maybe eventually, they say it's not going to come to PlayStation a year from now, a year and a half from now, it might show up there anyway.
It'll pull a Destiny.
Or they'll just
or not Destiny, Mass Effect.
It might be like...
You'll get the collector's edition years
Well, that
later.
was the publisher thing.
It might be like Bayonetta 2, where it's never coming to other consoles, but Bayonetta 3 might, just because Nintendo funded Bayonetta 2.
Exactly, and it depends on who owns the IP, and the developer, Cuphead, owns the IP. Just like Sunset Overdrive, that IP is actually owned by Insomniac. So if Insomniac ever wanted to do a Sunset Overdrive 2, they could release it on every platform. Mm-hmm. And that's the big thing that Microsoft's doing that Microsoft's not doing that Sony does. Sony, if you make an exclusive for them on their platform, they own the IP.
They need a slogan.
Sega
does what Nintendo don't.
It's very rare that the AAA games that they pretty much make from the ground up with a developer, like Until Dawn, they'll own the IP. Ratchet and Clank, they own the IP. Resistance, they own the IP. Even though it's all these other developers that come in and make these games, like Insomniac, they own the IP for those games. And the big reason why Insomniac went to Xbox was because they said, you can make this game exclusive, Sunset Overdrive, you can make this game exclusive for us, and you can keep the IP. Mm-hmm. And again, it's this goodwill mentality, but I don't think to the general consumer, all they're seeing is like, well, PlayStation has all these great games. They have Spider-Man, they have God of War, and that's awesome. That's what's going to sell your consoles at the end of the day. Yeah. But I just think it's a matter of it's just they're doing everything right on their side with Xbox, but I just don't know if they're getting all the messaging out to everybody the way they should.
See, they need to, like I said, for me, nothing's getting me to buy an Xbox.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. It doesn't matter if you are sharing your, the PC side of the business with your console. You are trying to sell your console.
You would assume.
And, and,
because, like, again, you already have a PC, and you have a Windows 10, so technically they've already won.
And that's the thing, like, if I want Cuphead, am I going to spend $500 to play Cuphead?
And I guess the conversation would be, too, like Gears of War, Forza, Halo, whatever the case may be. Will you buy an Xbox in order to keep it out here in your living room, but then take it with you on a laptop?
It seems to me that Xbox is playing the waiting game. They're promoting their console to developers, so that third party will be more receptive to working with them than with the other people. Like, Nintendo hurt their relationship with third party with NES and their rigid days of...
Well, they're getting big in with the indies, too. So.
Yeah, so I think this is just the opposite of that, where Xbox is going to have a console later on with just massive third-party support.
Yeah, I mean, if they have like an exclusive cross-platform where every single game is on Xbox, will be cross-platform with that. There's exclusive modes for that cross-platform, something that Sony's never going to do, and then maybe somehow incorporate some sort of Steam version on Xbox where you can play a numerous amount of games off your Xbox through Steam.
I'm sure they would love to do it. I don't think Valve would ever allow
like I said, it's all up to them. But for me, that would be like, I'm going to get an Xbox because
Xbox might partner with Valve because Valve tried to do the Steam box.
Machine didn't
work.
And
they didn't work. It's just
and the thing is too is that Xbox has become a lot more open with their system. I think they had Kodi running on it and stuff like that at one point, and these different apps that could run on it. Different emulators that were running on the Xbox, so they are slowly opening it up to make it a little bit more appealing. Like if you want, my brother-in-law said too, even with the original Xbox, like if you wanted to create an app and potentially put it onto Xbox, you could. Like that's how open it is. Mm-hmm. Like you can actually customize it a little bit more and actually whatever he wanted to do, put it on there, similar to like what they did with Kodi and some of these other apps. So that's also an element I think that they're not really marketing in the sense that it's a pretty open platform. You can do X, Y, Z, and most of the Xbox Ones, I think that was original news that they're pretty much dev kits. Like you can actually set every Xbox you can use, you can utilize as a dev if you wanted to make it a dev kit.
Yeah.
So it's just like there's a lot of like what ifs and looking at the exclusive ordeal. The other thing that's killing them is that Sony is continually throwing the money at Activision for the Call of Duty deals, the Destiny deals, and it's giving all the consumers the perception that it's the best game, or PlayStation's the best platform to play a lot of these games. So that's also another thing that they have to try and combat, but they're not going to. Even Phil Spencer said with Anthem, he's not buying into exclusive content first on Xbox or Anthem.
Well, you have to look to like PS4, right? Okay, so you PS4, you come out with a great game. Okay, so people are going to buy that on PS4. But then down the line, there's a PC version that looks phenomenal. Okay, so maybe they're going to buy it again for PC versus, okay, so you have Xbox and PC. Maybe that game only gets bought once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it could be split between PC and Xbox One.
Yeah.
Depending on what the game was.
So, like, you're talking cross-platform. Okay, so you're going to buy one versus if I own a PS4, maybe I'll buy two versions. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's a stretch, but
looking at Destiny, like I think there's going to be a lot of people that played PlayStation 4 Destiny on PlayStation 4 that now it's coming to PC, they might buy one or two copies. Yeah. Because of the people that they play with.
Yeah. So obviously, as a business strategy, you want to be like, okay, how am I going to be able to sell more of my product?
Yeah.
And Sony's just been doing very well for themselves, and for someone that wants to buy an Xbox, I'm just not seeing myself wanting to go buy an Xbox.
They're also kind of doubling down on these games that are kind of becoming services. Like Phil Spencer's a big Destiny fan. Sea of Thieves is kind of like that open world, like jump in, play for a little bit, different activities, jump out. So I think they're kind of looking at those types of games and kind of slowly steering away from things like Uncharted or God of War. These you jump in, you play them for a little bit, you get out because there's no multiplayer element to them, or there's not one that's going to keep you there.
Yeah.
So that's another, I think, aspect to this grand scheme of what Xbox is trying to do, and it may pay off for them, it may not. At the end of the day, too, we got to think about this is the generation. We're talking just from the perspective of our generation of gaming. There's a lot of younger kids right now that only have ever used an Xbox.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know what I mean? And they're going to continue forward with Xbox. And they are the ones that are playing the Minecrafts, the Forzas, the Halos, that sort of a thing, because that's what they play with their buddies, and they play it, for a long period of time because they can't afford to go out and buy every single new game that comes out.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting spectrum.
Because, growing up, Nintendo, PlayStation, PS2, Xbox, PS3, Xbox 360, and once Xbox 360 came out, I sort of put, until Metal Gear Solid 4, that's when I bought my PS3, but once I beat that, I put that aside. Uncharted 2 I played, but then I was mostly on Xbox 360, just because of, the system, or the layout of Xbox Live, everything.
The type of games too, like Gears. I put more time into Gears 1 than I probably put into any of the Sony exclusives.
Halo 3, I love that.
The amount of time that you put into it, yeah.
And like you said, Gears of War.
They're kind of they've slowly been trying to build these games as a platform, as this idea that you're coming back and you're playing this game continuously for an entire year, instead of selling you this one game that might be done in 12 hours and then you return it to GameStop.
Right.
So
yeah,
what about you, Jonah?
Any final thoughts?
I feel like I just melted your brain.
Yeah, no, I don't really care much for Xbox anymore after they did Scalebound. They threw in the.
You're really sore about that Scalebound, huh?
I won't get over it. That's the only game I was really excited about for Xbox. That I was actually very hyped for when they announced it at E3 or Tokyo Game Show. I'm not sure which one.
One of those.
Yeah, and after that, I've just been, the Xbox had the best looking E3 conference.
Yeah, because they had Dragon Ball. That's the only reason.
Yeah, but and it was like the best production, I think.
Oh yeah, it was a core E3 conference.
But I can't get excited for anything Xbox does, like even with all this stuff. Yeah. But whatever they do well, I guess that's great.
Yeah. But guys, what do you think? What do you feel about the exclusives that are this generation?
Doesn't matter.
Let us know down in the comments.